Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to Phatkat Collections. Got a new watch brand to the channel. This will be the first of two watches that this brand sent me. The brand goes by the name of Kuerst. It's K-U-E-R-S-T. I don't know if that's Kuerst or Kuerst, but this is the watch they sent me. So let's check it out. So it might look really familiar. If it does, for you Invicta collectors, it looks like a Lupah. And so the Lupah is a watch that's I think one of the original Invictas after, of course, they rebranded. I remember seeing the Lupah on the Home Shopping Network like countless times. It's a watch that I did add to my collection years ago and then ended up returning it. I either returned it or sold it. I don't really remember, just because I found that the quality on the Invicta Lupah, it just wasn't on par with like the reserve level pieces. The bracelet just felt really kind of light and tinny. So I ended up returned. I think I either sold it or returned. I just don't really remember. But point being, I don't have it anymore. So this company reached out several weeks ago, and this was not the watch I agreed to review. Full disclosure. Being that I'm not really a huge fan of the Lupah, although I'm glad I have it now, right? Because I got this for free. The Lupah was never one that really drew me in. There was a time where I wanted one, and again, I knew I wasn't really going to wear it all that much. Right now, kind of taste change with watches and style changes, and I definitely wear a lot of smaller watches that I typically would not, that would just sit in the watch box years ago. So I think that, you know, sometimes with watch collecting, it's kind of nice to have something in your collection you can come back to, because you may just decide to wear it one day. However, you folks know that I'm more of a bracelet guy, but still, when I wear something that's silicone or rubber, I tend to wear ones that are more like flashy, right? Either white or like a color of some sort, where I really want that color pop on my wrist. Black and blue, not really my first preference. And also, they sent me this watch incorrectly because I'd agreed to review a different watch. And generally, when a brand reaches out, I will usually try to get a watch that I really want to add to my collection. One that generates some kind of excitement with me. This one didn't really do much for me. I'll be honest with you, when they sent me the picture, I was like, yeah, cool, I've seen that. You know, I've seen that 1,000 times. But they agreed to send me a different watch, and they sent me this one anyway. So I said, yeah, well, that wasn't the agreement. So they're nice enough to go ahead and send me the watch. I did agree to review, and I said I would still give you guys my 2 cents on this one. So what do you get with this? So first off, my first complaint with this watch is there are 0 specifications on their website, and the information they do have on the site is incorrect. There's a couple weird things with this watch, but before we rip this watch apart, sort of, I'm going to talk about the box. Here is the box. It has got the cardboard sleeve, the Kuerst logo. This is a generic box with a kind of metal sticker. Seen one, seen them all. On the inside, kind of a tan brownish interior. Instruction manual, a warning about mechanical watches, and the instruction manual is not even really for this watch. So, you know, is it a big deal? We'll get to that. So, let's get the box out of here. Let's put that away, because it wasn't, you know, we have a basic faux leather box. You've seen one, you've seen them all. It does nothing for me, right? Now, if they include the box in this watch, let me just get this out of the way. If that was the box they gave you and this watch cost $50, I'd be like, cool, not bad for 50 bucks. However, this watch got a MSRP of $399 and a sale price, which is typically probably what this is going to sell for $190. Now, it is available in blue, black, and looks like kind of a silver. I would have chosen a silver face, but they took it upon themselves to send me the blue, which is okay. I'm not necessarily complaining. That sounds like I am. You know, it's not really my first color choice, but it is a very nice royal blue. Quality of the watch. From what I can tell when I compare this to hundreds of other watches I own and had in my hands over the years, it's nice quality. I'd say it's every bit as nice as an Invicta or many other brands. It appears to be 316 stainless steel, although I can't confirm that. I assume this is a polished stainless steel, but it also might be an alloy that's been plated. With no information, I really can't tell you, which brings me to my biggest pet peeve. There is no information about this watch on their site. It's a nice looking watch. Like, if you like the Lupah style, the big curved domed look, then great, right? However, why would you buy this over an Invicta? I honestly can't give you a reason why you would. This is what they state here. They state that this watch is an automatic mechanical timepiece, which it is. We can see the exhibition window on the back. We have a decorated kind of goldish rotor with the Kuerst branding on it. Not bad. Generic, but not bad. I would, if I had to guess, I'd almost say that this is like a copy of a Miyota movement. But just based on the rotor's got like kind of engraved fake screws on it. Now Miyotas typically have the screws, if I remember correctly. So I'd say this is probably a generic, Chinese copy of a Miyota movement. But I can't confirm that. Which brings me to a real problem I have with this particular watch. And this company right now, they state that this is a Swiss mechanical watch. But there is no information regarding the movement. There is no branding on the movement. There is nothing I can even make out. Like a lot of times, if a brand's going to use like an NH35, you can see it's branded NH35. This is zero branding, which tells me this is probably a copy of a... It doesn't mean it's bad, but this is incorrect information they're putting on here. I highly doubt this is Swiss mechanical. Now, if this watch was, manufactured or put together in Switzerland, I guess, maybe they can claim that. But as far as I can tell, I need to see some evidence to know that. Does it really matter? Not at all. But they should not be listing this as Swiss mechanical with zero evidence to back it up. At least if it had, an ETA movement or a Swiss-made movement in it, or a shield movement, we could say that. But there's nothing that makes this a Swiss-made movement. The other really upsetting thing to me, or not really upsetting, but kind of annoying thing to me, is that they say this is a chronograph. This is not a chronograph watch. We have basically your time on this. We have a day of the day indicator. We have the day of the week indicator, and then a month indicator and an open heart, right? This would be no different than a company saying this is a tourbillon because it has the open heart. We see this all the time when it comes to like Amazon, eBay watches, right? It's not. It's an open heart movement. It's automatic, but this is not a chronograph function. We have non-screw down crown function pushers. When we press the upper function pusher, it changes the day of the month. However, this goes all the way up to, and I'll show you here, and I confirm this is the day of the month. I thought maybe I was doing something wrong, or maybe this wasn't what it was. See if you can see this. It goes all the way up to 39. There's no month with 39 days in it. So I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that. And I thought maybe this is some other complication, but when I rotate the time, and I go to noon, and then I go to midnight, it flips over. So it is a day of the month indicator. So why they brought it up to 39 is beyond me. I have no idea. If there is some other culture that has more days in a month, it's news to me, let me know. But as far as I can tell, that makes no sense to me. And the fact that it's not a chronograph. Because when you move the function pusher, it changes that date, the day window. And of course, when you use the second function pusher, it changes the month on the other complication. So absolutely false information on here. Whether they meant to do it or not, or they just don't know any better, it doesn't really matter. This is, when somebody's spending $200 on a watch, you should have the correct information. Now, some brands are not as good as others. Like when we look at, for instance, a lot of the Dartmouth brands, sometimes on like Nubeo listing on the specifications, they have the specs, but sometimes they don't have the actual movement model, right? Which I could always get you if you were looking to buy one of those. But, and I've been harping on them for a long time. Add all this information to your site. Then we have brands like Oceaniva, which they hit you with every possible specification they could add, which is what you want. You want, when you're spending money on a watch, you want all those specifications, even if it's a $50 watch, in my opinion. When I look at a watch like this, although the quality's nice, it looks good, it's not a bad quality watch by any means, you're asking somebody to pay $190 for a watch that you've provided no information, and the information that is provided is incorrect. It's not a chronograph. There are not 39 days of the month. It's unbelievable to me. They also state that this is a rubber strap. This feels like silicone to me. I could be wrong in that regard, but it's just another thing that they have listed here that they can't confirm. And when you're asking somebody to spend $200 on a watch, you better have at least correct information on there for what you are listing. From what I can tell, it's not a Swiss mechanical watch. From what I can tell, it's not a chronograph, and from what I can tell, there are not 39 days in a month. So This is upsetting to me. If this was a $50 watch, we might be able to make an exception for this misinformation or incorrect information, and we might be able to just say, hey, you know what? All right, we'll just give them a little benefit of the doubt here. You know, it's $50. It's probably just a generic, but they're a generic movement, and okay, they don't have the specs. But it's not. They're asking you to spend $199 for this watch. Now, do I think it's a nice looking watch? Absolutely. I will throw it on the wrist here. Do I think the quality is decent? Absolutely. You know, I really, if I were to pick up this watch and somebody hid the name and they said, what kind of watch is that? I'd say this is probably an Invicta, right? Because they're known for making their Lupahs. And I don't know if Invicta was the first one that created that design or what, but it's a cool looking watch. It's a super comfortable watch. You know, it's big, it's bold, it looks beautiful, but why would somebody spend $190 for this watch when you can buy, and I hate, guys, I really hate having to like kind of bash on a product. I very rarely do I'm just searching Lupah Invicta to give you guys an idea what's available. Very rarely will you see me kind of cut down a watch at all. And I'm not cutting down the quality of this watch. Like, it's not bad, but this is disappointing that they have wrong information and that they're asking $200 for this. So you can pick up a Lupah, like here. I mean, this may not be the exact one you want. This is not a chronograph, but neither is this. This gives you the chronograph look, right? You can pick one up from $42 on Ashford, right? I mean, and the price is all over the place. If you go to Joma Shop, there's ones that are similar to this that are chronographs, you know, $128. This one here, I mean, this is definitely one that's been on my radar for a while. Rose gold and yellow tone gold. Hand wind movement. Beautiful watch. 186. So, and we know they have it listed. You know, what are we getting here? Let's see what the specs actually say on this Invicta. Stainless steel. Flame fusion crystal. The model number. Movement vendor. The caliber of the movement. You know, we have not tons of information, but you're asking somebody to pay $186 for an Invicta. We have some decent information there, right? With this, they're putting out incorrect information and a lack of information. So it is quite incredible that a brand would one, reach out to any influencer to send this and say, hey, yeah, review it when providing this information. Now, let me just give a little bit of let me just try to give them a little bit of a pass, right? Now, maybe they have these listed on here, and maybe this is a work in progress, right? Maybe it's a new brand. Maybe they're going to make these changes. But honestly, when you're sending this watch out for review and you're listing it on your website as available and somebody can actually buy it, you better have the information on there. So, Kuerst, I hope you're watching. And by the way, this is the Kuerst Aurora Automatic. After watching this video, they want me to critique. What do you think of our watch, right? What do you think of the quality? The quality's nice. It's a nice looking piece if you like the Lupah style. Comfort, to me, you know, I'm probably the worst one to ask for stuff like that because I feel like all watches are comfortable. Will I wear it? Absolutely. You know, is it a good looking piece? Absolutely. I feel like the quality is definitely on par with like an Invicta or any other, you know, Lupah. But for the price, again, the information is just not there. So anyway, I'm 5'8", 180 pounds, 7-inch wrist. This is what it's going to look like on a guy my size, my height, and my weight. And I will give you the specification because they were pretty good about listing that. They actually show a kind of sketch of the watch, and I'll put the link in the description where you can look at some close-up shots, of course, and I'd say read about it, but it's kind of pointless. We have 1.18 inches in width. 2.48 inches in length. That's not including the lugs. That's only including from top of the watch, 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock at the bezel. So, you know, 2 inches. That's what is that? That's roughly 2.5 inches. You're looking at 70 millimeters in length. But, you know, when it comes to these Tanu style, I'm going to call it a Tanu. I know it's not 100% correct, but he's more of these elongated square watches. You definitely have a longer wrist presence. But, you know, it's unfortunate because this is a nice looking piece. And, you know, I think the quality is definitely there. It's not bad at all. But, you know, watch guys like to know the information. They like to know what kind of crystal. They want to know, is it stainless steel? They want to know what kind of movement. And they sure as hell want as a brand representing your own watches, they want to be able to read about the watch and get reliable information. So I have to give this watch right now, unless the company fixes the errors on their site, I'd have to not recommend this watch at this point. Just because the price point from where it's at, again, I want to be clear, looking at it, cosmetics, feel on the wrist, quality, it's not bad at all. It definitely doesn't feel like a $50 watch or anything like that. But for what they're asking to pay and not providing the correct information, I'd have to not recommend at this point, because you can get a watch just as nice by Invicta in a much bigger price range, right? For a much better price. And to me, again, this is subjective, but if I was spending the money on, if I wanted a Lupah style watch and I didn't really care, let's say, I didn't care about the brand Invicta, right? And you like the brand, whatever. Because some people won't wear an Invicta because it's Invicta. But if I didn't care about that and I was looking for this style, Invicta has made this watch for so many years, and they still continue to, because it is a popular style, right? It's when I see this watch, I instantly say, is that a Lupah? They've kind of made this watch their own. Whether they were the ones that created the design or not, I honestly don't know. But when you see it, you just think Invicta Lupah. If you're an Invicta guy, or you know anything about watches and what's on the market. But very disappointing that if I was spending my own money and I was going to spend $200 on a Lupah, I would just go buy a Lupah rather than spend my money on this with specifications that we can't confirm. So that's it. But I wish I feel bad giving this kind of a negative review, because that's ultimately what I'm giving it. But companies can't do this, right? They have to provide information that's accurate and correct to the customer. Swiss made. This is, as far as I can tell, this is not Swiss made, which is too bad. Now, what I hope for the company with this is that they come back, they make the corrections on the website to reflect what the watch actually has, and then they drop the price to $100. Because realistically, for a Lupah, unless, of course, this does have a Swiss movement that I'm not aware of. If it is actually Swiss made, and this is a sapphire crystal, and this is 316 stainless steel, and this movement is, an ETA, or I know it's not, but it is a Swiss made movement of some sort, then maybe you can rationalize or warrant that price. But as right now, absolutely not. So that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, I do want to thank Kuerst for the generosity in sending me this watch. It's another one for the collection. It will get worn. And I look forward to the other one they're going to send me. Hopefully the specifications on the other one are actually reflect what the watch has, right? So thanks for watching, guys. Take care.